Man, thank you. I appreciate it. Excuse me. Can I have another fork, please? My fork is gone. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. What's going on? I want to talk to you about something today that it's a little different than what some of you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
What some of you are used to. I want to discuss a case for more throwing and less falling. I've been coaching judo for a little while now, and I have a program or a system in where I don't even teach break falls. I don't teach break falls at all, and I don't teach uchikomi at the beginning level. I think there's enough time when a child wants to pursue a professional judo career that they can get involved in more of the old school training methods where they can fall more and they can be thrown more. In the beginning, I don't believe that type of trauma is necessary on the system of a child or a young person. I played football in college, and any of my parents and students can tell you that the way that I limp around the dojo or my wife can tell you like how I move when I get up in the morning is no fun. When I look at the cumulative damage that was done to my body, it's absolutely unnecessary to do judo in that fashion. I don't care what was written down back in the day, or 1800s and 1900s. We're more intelligent now. We don't even play football the same way we play football. We don't line up and do a bunch of Oklahoma drills or the Nutcracker drill or things like that because we know more about trauma, we know more about the body, and we know more about the accumulation of contact and hits. And because we know that, and because we look at the acquisition of expertise and the things that have been studied in the realm of expertise acquisition, we know that doing partial movements like uchikomi at the young level is not necessary. It is. You are able to throw more with less impact. In my dojo, if you see me exercise, you see me use the dummies for training. Excuse me, I use the dummies for newaza development. I use the dummies for throwing because at the initial levels, nobody's going to be throwing perfectly, okay? What you're more concerned about the four pillars of human movement of push-pull, locomotion, rotation, and level change. All your tewaza and all your koshiwaza requires push-pull, rotation, and level change. At the core basic levels in terms of human movement, in terms of athletic development, you want to train the rotation, the push-pull, and the level change. I don't need an 11-year-old or a 10-year-old to have a perfect uchimata because the bottom line is an 11-year-old or a 10-year-old is not going to have a perfect uchimata. They can give me a perfect shurikomigoshi, and they can't give me a perfect ogoshi, and they can't give me a perfect ukigoshi, but there's absolutely no reason to bang a kid's head against the wall. If you look at the research, even the current day research, concussions occur in children, I think it's anywhere between 44 to 46% of the time in terms of U.S. sports, by falling. I think it's 20% by projectiles, which means if you can limit the falling, you can limit the overall trauma that the child experiences. There's enough time if an athlete becomes good and they want to learn how to do judo at the elite level where they have to train in what we call the old school training method. Yes. You get to a point where there's no way around doing all those falls and all those throws. But remember, it's cumulative. If I can knock off 70% or 60% of all the cumulative trauma that a person is experiencing, I can end up adding to their career on the back end. So when you see me do newaza, or you see me promote newaza excellence, it's not that I don't believe in throwing, because I do throw. My kids throw. They throw the dummy more than they throw people. And if you come to my dojo, any of my parents can comment on here. Even my man Salo, who is watching, we rarely do randori. We rarely fight in my place. We don't fight. We drill. We do situationals, pushing people out of bounds, throwing at the last second. A lot of Newaza drills at the last second. There's absolutely no reason to create that amount of trauma on people. So let me tell you what I do. When you walk in my dojo on day one, you're learning how to do an arm bar. I don't care if you're 4 years old, 3 years old, 6 years old, 20 years old. You learn how to do the arm bar. I'm not throwing you on the ground. And after you learn how to do the arm bar, you're going to learn how to do Kazuri Case Katame. You're going to take the Kazuri Case Katame and move it all the way into the Juju Katame. Kazuri Case Katame, into Mune Gatame, into Ushiro Case Gatame, into Tate Shio Gatame, into Juju Gatame. And then when you get that down, then I'm going to put you on the dummy and you're going to do Ogoshi and how Ogoshi flows through all the way to Juju Gatame so that you learn the system of mat work. You'll do that. My students will tell you you will be on that for at least 2 months. Now, for 2 months, you haven't learned a break fall, you haven't learned a side fall, you haven't learned a rolling break fall, you haven't learned anything. I have put absolutely zero trauma on your system, zero trauma on your arms, zero trauma on your back. The only thing that I did is I loaded you up with a light dummy, 35 pounds, progress you to 50, from 50 to 70, and then my elite athletes stole the 140 or the 90. There's absolutely no trauma that I'm putting on your system. When you hit the mat, you're rolling, you're on top of the dummy. There's no reason to take a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old when they don't have perfect throws and to pair them up with somebody else who doesn't have perfect throws and to have them unloading on each other with Osoto Gari and have the back of their head hitting the ground. And you know you've seen it done at dojos and you know you watch it and some of you have even coached it. It is the wrong thing to do. I don't care who teaches you to do Osoto Gari first. I don't care what came out of the standard canon of judo. I am not concerned. What we know now as scientists and what we know now as coaches and what we know now as researchers should change the way that we do judo. We don't even do break falls in my dojo. You will go over break falls after you've been there for maybe a year. That's it. There's no 20, 30 minutes of kiai, 10 minutes of break fall. There's none of that stuff. You come in and you learn human movement, transformation, rotation. These are the things you need to learn. You learn the lessons. You learn about, in my place, you learn about physics. You learn about gravity. You learn about projectiles. You learn about range. You learn about velocity. You learn about force vectors. I mean, we teach applied physics. We teach engineering. That is what we teach in my place. I am not for abusing people. Are there times when things get abusive? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Within reason. I have an elite athlete, Hannah Wagner. She can't tell you one time why I'm throwing her and falling on her because I'm not going to throw her and fall on her. Are some of her practices hard? Yes, they're grinding hard on the mat, hard grinding, grip fighting. But I am not abusing her body, just like I'm not going to abuse my kid's body. Is practice hard sometimes? Yes. Practice is intelligently difficult, as it should be. If you're in the dojo and you believe there's only one way to do judo, that means you have to throw, fall, you're doing judo incorrectly. You're doing judo incorrectly. There's a new way to attack the sport. There's a more innovative way to attack the sport. In some of my practices, we can spend almost an hour to 2 hours. An hour in the beginning of practice, okay, an hour. Throwing the dummy, and then moving into the koshi, moving into the what we call the Kazuri Case Katame system, what I explained before. And we could do this for an hour. I get more throws done. I'm telling you right now, I get more throws done in less time than any of you all because the dummy doesn't talk. Yes, are there some nuances that you can learn in terms of preparation and moving? Yes, there are. But at the beginning levels, you don't need that. What I'm talking about is the minimization of trauma through the overall life of the athlete, which means if I'm starting at that particular level, I'm minimizing the trauma. There's absolutely no reason for me to grab a kid at the age of 6 and say, hey, let me prepare you for a concussion. Let me tell you something. You are going to get a concussion in judo. If you do judo at the international level, sooner or later, you're going to get a concussion. If you play football at the collegiate level, high school level, you're going to get a concussion. If you play football at the NFL level, if you're training to be an Olympic level, sooner or later, you're going to hit your head. It's going to hurt. But if we know that now, with the information that we have, with the science that is available, then it is our job to reduce the trauma in those individuals. Meaning, there's a reason why we start with Newaza first. We start with Newaza first to also create connectivity to the Tachiwaza, which means if I have an athlete, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, that athlete moves on, goes to college, decides to continue to do judo, whatever coach then gets the athlete, that particular coach can then put their Tachiwaza system in and connect into the Newaza system with no gaps. And that athlete that they're getting, that athlete has less injuries, less surgery, less trauma, and is a better overall quality product for future development. Yeah, man, it's cool. It's cool to bang an athlete, bang them to just death, bang them to death, and make them good early. It's cool. It's cool. And by the time they're 18, they've had 4 shoulder surgeries, or the shoulders are already popping out, their knees hurting all the time, hip is hurting, and they can't function. I got that already. My man Danny Skiff has that already. We don't need that. We don't need to give that to our athletes. There's a new way to do it. I'm actually sitting down at breakfast. Pardon me for eating in your ear. And I got my books with me. Reading myself. Reading my research. Taking my notes because I'm getting ready to write a few papers on this. And papers don't make people any money. I'm not about making any money from this. This is about changing the way, changing our sport for the better, and making sure people can be in our sport for a long period of time. Yeah, I feel it too every morning, Danny. Like some of the things that we did, here's the thing. Some of the things that we did were necessary. Some of the things that we did were not necessary. If you're competing for the Youth Olympics, there's no way not that you're gonna have to line up and do the throws. You want to go to the Olympics? Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you for asking. There's no way to get around. You're gonna have to line up. You gotta do the throws. But I don't need to take a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old and throw them into the ground over and over again. Do we throw? Yes. We throw a lot. Do we throw each other a lot? No. You know how many uchikomi I do inside of my dojo? Zero. I don't do one uchikomi. Uchikomi are necessary. Not at the beginning stages. If you're teaching uchikomi to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, you're making a mistake. Because what you're doing is you're teaching a partial, repetitive movement over and over again. I just watched a clip on Facebook of somebody in the Abu Dhabi Grand Slam, whatever the heck it is, all right? Person that comes in for a throw, it gets a little sticking point on the throw, and then they come back out. That coming back out is a trained response. They're doing that because they've been trained to do that over and over and over again. How many times does the coach you say, when you come in through the first throw, stay in on, well, okay, you can tell the kid stay in as much as you want, but you've given them 350, 400 uchikomi. All those uchikomi at the young age are the wrong thing to do. Not when you can utilize a dummy to train the full throwing movement with nagikomi. I do 0 uchikomi. When an athlete is old enough to understand that they're working on the uchikomi for the purpose of the identification of the opening or that first step movement or to get that initial entry for the throw, that's different. 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old, that's different. At the kid level, I'm not giving a 6-year-old, a 9-year-old uchikomi. I'm not doing it. They can throw completely. Utilizing a dummy, training the push-pull, level change, and the rotation. There's not much locomotion in judo. When it is time for locomotion, then they can move with a partner and then throw. That's when things go from static to dynamic. At that particular time, they can definitely throw people. I don't have any problem with that. And it's still, overall, less trauma on the athlete than was there initially on an older model. If you are teaching uchikomi, I'm telling you right now, you have been or you will be frustrated in the coach's chair with kids who come in partially for throws and fall down, or come in partially for throws and come back out to throw. It's because you have taught them to come in and out, in and out, in and out. Watch this. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days out of the week. You're doing all these uchikomis and you switch. Uchikomi, switch. You've given 300 to anywhere from 300 to 500 partial reps. You got more partial movements than you have full movement. One of the major things that I really appreciate with when understanding Jason Morris's model, man, in the beginning of practice, crash pad, older people throwing, bomb, 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 bomb. Different. Now, understanding this, there's a static model and there's a dynamic model. If you want to do uchikomi and you're doing moving uchikomi, like my man Herman down in Coral Springs, Florida. A lot of moving uchikomi, moving, bop, moving, bop, moving, bop. That is different because he's not training the in and out movement as much as he's training the movement and the identification of when to enter. Two different things. And the children on a different trajectory. But uchikomi in the beginning, too many parts of the expertise that you're acquiring for doing uchikomi. Wait a minute, let me say it the proper way. The undesired technique that you are getting from uchikomi manifests itself in the environment of play. Come on, you know I got the coffee, buddy. All right. As judo coaches, we have to do a better job with research, okay? When it comes to practice, it's cool to watch YouTube videos. It's cool to go to coaching seminars, if there are any. It's cool, but you have to read the research that happens in sport, okay? The sports which are kind of pioneers in the concussion movement right now are the NFL, you have rugby, you have boxing, you have MMA, okay? But you have to read the research on these things. You have to read the research about overall trauma, and you have to do things differently. Let me say this for most coaches. Let me make a case for you to put more dummy throwing in your curriculum, especially in the beginning. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old. To pair a 6-year-old with another 7-year-old, to have them throwing each other, for what purpose? Here's what you're doing. The amount of time that you're taking, for me, okay, I could just give you my case study. There's no coach, and there's no coach in the U.S., okay, hear me very clearly. There's no coach in the U.S. who has created more junior national champions with less people than I have. I think I have like 20 people that I've coached, maybe 20, 25. And the amount of national champions that I have with that amount of people is ridiculous. The whole family out of Mississippi, they don't even have practice partners. There's a curriculum that we have that I've threatened to put the curriculum out, but I don't want to because I haven't put my card in there yet. Can I put it on the room? Mm-hmm. I'll put it on the room. Okay, thank you. Oh, pardon me for a moment. I'm sharing breakfast. So the curriculum that I have, it requires, there's no throwing. I mean, there's no throwing of an individual. It's a junior program that creates a national champion that requires no partner. Listen to me very carefully, except for the gripping, except for on the gripping side, okay? Requires no partner for throwing. It's a full program. Now, does it have its ceiling? Yes, it does. Okay. My man, I can't remember. Why am I forgetting this dude's name? So Foster out of Mississippi fought my man, Danny Rodriguez's son. Okay. I think it's Nick who he fought. Now, he went as far as he could go on that model in terms of competing against Nick. All right. But he didn't have the practice partners. He don't have the accent. He's in Mississippi. But under that model, there are many clubs that can use that model and become successful. I train my son and my daughter under the same model. I train Hannah Wagner under the same model. Hannah won damn, what the hell did she win? Forget what she won. My kids won a couple of national championships here and there. But what I'm telling you is, yes, they will have to move over. Yes, they will do more throwing. Yes, but in the beginning stages, they do not need that amount of trauma. There's a different way to do it. And if you're lining up and you got kids throwing each other with a solo guard all the time and the head snapping back on the ground, you got to find a different way. All right, that's it. I got to get back to writing, but I wanted to talk about this. I wish I could share some of these things at a brown bag luncheon at Nationals or something like that. But those things are not available right now. I do have, hold on a moment. Sorry about that. I do have coaching clinics and seminars, teleseminars and stuff like that. But you know what? I think I'm going to write this up initially, and then I'm going to, got to get some more data. Then I think I'm going to do, give me about 30 days, I'm going to do a free teleseminar on teaching judo differently. Because, and let me end on this. We lose a lot of money in our sport because kids leave. If you're a judo coach, you know that you've coached judo and you've watched kids cry, absolutely cry, out of fear of being thrown. Why the hell would you have somebody come and sign up and do a bunch of falls and then throw them in the first 2 months when you can put them on a dummy, teach them Keisukatami, Kazuri Keisukatami, Makura Keisukatami, Makura Kazuri Keisukatami, Tame Shio Gatami, Tachi Shio Gatami, Juji Gatami, Rolling Juji Gatami, the crab ride, the clock choke, Hadaka Jime, the bow and arrow, Kataha Jime, Okuri Iri Jime. Like, you can teach all of these things in judo, which are available to you. But you want to get a kid and bring them through the door and teach them how to yell and scream, fall to the side, and then get with another non-expert and then throw him on the ground and bang his head off the head. Why? Why? Kid comes to judo practice. He goes to school and says, "Oh man, I'm taking judo now." And he says, "What did you learn? What's he gonna do? Get in the middle of the hallway and fall on his back and slap the floor? What are you doing, man? What are you doing, man?" And you wonder why the jiu-jitsu tournaments are filled up. Because the kid goes to jiu-jitsu on day one and learns something effective. On day one, he comes to judo practice. We teach him how to break fall. Come on, man. It's a poor business model. It's a poor business model. First of all, it's not. I don't care how safe you. I don't listen. I don't care. I don't care how safe you tell me. Well, I teach fall, so it's safe. Man, people get thrown all the time. In football, they teach you how to form tackle too, and you get knocked out. Which the good coach teach good judo. The best coach teach good judo with minimum support and resource and reach the golden result. This is true. This is true. This is true. And you have to do it and take care of the players in the long term. You know, that's all I have for today. I'm going to try to put something out, man. Give me about 20, 30 days. Got a lot of stuff I'm working on here. Strength and conditioning programs, nutritional clients, putting stuff together with my wife for the kids for 2018. Getting the calendar set. I got Brad Bowling coming in, I think, on the 5th of November. And we got a tournament on the 4th of November, jiu-jitsu in the area. So, got a lot of things going on. But for those of you who have not done the grip fighting teleseminar, I would advise you to go to www.gripfightingteleseminar.com. That's a teleseminar that I'm holding every night at 9 o'clock, no matter what day of the week you grab it. 9 p.m. If you want to listen to it tonight, you're more than welcome to sign up for it. www.gripfightingteleseminar.com. Hey, take care and have a great day. And I'm going to finish up my breakfast and my coffee here. All right? Love you. God loves you best.